Hey, this is Dan.
And this is Adam.
And we're from the band Striker, and you're listening to
Perkūno namai.
Labas vakaras, aš esu Paulius Zanevičius iš Perkūno namų. Dabar esu festivalyje Velnio akmuo ir turiu galimybę pasikalbėti su Kanados heavy metalo grupe Striker ir konkrečiai tai grupės vokalistu Dan ir būgnininku Adam. So, hi guys, how do you do?
Good, dude. How are you doing?
Woo! I've been listening to Striker for several years, and I really regard you as one of the best old-school heavy metal bands that emerged in the last decade. So it's very nice to see you guys finally here in this festival. How was your journey to this place, and what's your first impression about this festival so far?
So far, our impression of the festival is awesome. It's really cool. Like, you're sort of like playing in the middle of the forest, which is really cool.
And there's a beach.
Yeah, and there's also a beach. But our journey here was super shitty. We got a canceled flight and stuff, so we had to drive here from Frankfurt and all this stuff. But so it was not so good, but we're here. So
Yeah, it was a long journey. I think it was 20 hours of driving. But to finally be here and then see the stage, it's exciting. That's why we do it. So awesome to be here. Thanks.
We had some adventures, but finally you're here. Okay.
yeah.
So, how often do you get to play in Europe?
I think we get over here at least once a year, sometimes more than once. I think there's been a few years we've been here more like twice, but yeah, usually like once a year.
On which side of Atlantic Ocean do you play more? And where do you think the audience maybe is better?
Well, it was our first time playing in the United States just a few months ago in April.
You never played in the United States?
No, it took us that because they have very strict visas requirements, and it's very hard to get over the border, and it's expensive. But
Do you think everyone is terrorist?
yeah,
I think everybody's got drugs. Everybody in Canada, especially sort of the side of Canada we're on, I think there's a lot of drug trafficking. That doesn't really matter, but yeah, for anybody, any band to get into the States that doesn't or isn't from the States, there's a lot of paperwork and fees and things like that. So you have to really like get everything in a row to be able to go. And we sort of rather come over to Europe anyways. So because there's lots of really good heavy metal fans here. So, but that was cool. We were on tour with Artillery actually, and those guys were
that's awesome,
amazing band. So yeah, that was cool. But Europe is a little bit different. It's special.
It's kind of like our homeland. I don't know. Like, we're from Canada, but like, I feel like playing in Europe is where we got most of our fans and most of our experiences as musicians. So it's always awesome to be here, and the people are great, and the fans are metal. So.
Okay.
So many faces, all different races, come to meet as one. So many faces from different places, come to spill their blood into the sand. Fight for your life, fight for your freedom, or you'll never live again. Fight for your life, fight for your freedom, or you'll never see tomorrow.
Let's talk a little bit about the origins of your band. It seems to me that throughout the 90s and early 2000s, traditional heavy metal was basically dead. But now there are much more bands playing that kind of music. What was the atmosphere in the metal scene in 2007 when Striker was formed in?
Well, where we're from, it was all death metal. So we weren't super into that, so we sort of stuck out. There was us and a few other bands that were sort of coming up at the time. Actually, Tim and Adam were both playing in a different band called Six Guns over Tombstones, actually. But it's sort of it was like pretty saturated with death metal in general. But
In Canada.
Yeah, in Canada in general, basically. And so that wasn't really our thing, but I mean, a lot of people supported us and stuff, so it wasn't like a hostile environment. It was just happened that most people weren't playing this type of stuff we play.
Did it seem that you were part of something like new heavy metal revival movement or something like that?
Yeah, it's funny because I remember we were recording our first EP, our Road Warrior EP, and our buddy Clayton came to the studio we were recording at, and he had the first Enforcer album. He said, "You guys should check this out. Like, this just came out," and we were just like recording at that time. And we were like, "Oh shit,
that's cool."
So yeah, we sort of like right when we were starting, there was like a few bands that had kind of done that. Like I know like Wolf and stuff were sort of around, and then yeah, sort of when we started, there was a bunch of bands popped up, and it sort of just seemed to happen naturally that way.
It's a part of my soul, like the air that I breathe, and I'll never return. You and I were born to burn. Beyond your love, beyond your life, sound of the music will take you. Don't look back, don't let go. It will control you forever.
Is there any sense of community or collaboration between the bands in this new wave of Canadian heavy metal? I mean, do you get in touch with the guys from Skullfist or Cauldron or bands like?
Yeah. Actually, it's like Canada's a big place, but the metal scene's still very small. We've slept it back in the day. We slept on Jackie Slaughter's couch for like a week in Toronto, and we were on tour. He's an awesome guy, and we know all. Most Skullfist guys, and then Cauldron, we toured with them a couple times, and when the last tour we went on them, like I was actually drumming for them, and our bass player couldn't make it because there's a family tragedy or whatever, but both of them played bass for us. It was a very small tour, so
yeah, it was like when Adam was playing drums for Cauldron for that tour, and then Jay and Ian from Cauldron were playing bass in Striker. It was kind of a weird thing, but it worked.
So we're very close, I would say. We know them quite well.
Okay. What do you generally think about the present state of heavy metal? Do you listen to any contemporary bands, or are you only in the classics from the 80s?
We listen to a lot of old music, but so more and more there's bands that have been coming in, and like I think it's nice that like some of the newer bands they get a little more recognition, and they've been able to make albums that are sort of like sonically better sounding. I mean, there was a lot of metal that was like you'd have like their first album would be like a basement recording, and you're like, wow, this is cool, but like it sounds like a basement recording. But then they all got like recording contracts and were able to like expand their sound and stuff. So like I'm not sure where I'm going with this. Anyway,
I also find that like every band member has their own taste a little bit. Like I'm pretty power metal personally. It's like Pagan's Mind. I don't even know if that's newer or not, but like. And then it used to be newer. But so yeah, I find you become like more friends with these bands, and then kind of grows that way. But
and it may be that bands like Enforcer and maybe Striker, your band, also influence the even younger generation of heavy metal.
Yeah, it's funny to think about that.
Yeah. Well, now we're old, so that sucks. but hopefully that's cool. I don't know.
We're kind of like Cauldron was to us now.
Yeah.
Because we back in the day, like Cauldron was doing stuff before we were, and they would come to our side of Canada and play, and we'd go see them and be super excited and be like, holy shit, we got to like hang out with Cauldron.
Actually, it was Goat Horn back then, I think.
No,
well, and Cauldron. I played with Goat Horn when I was like 15 as one of my first shows. And then I remember talking to Jason. He's like, maybe I'll play with you like some other time, man. And Then like 3 years later, I was playing drums for him, and I was like, well, this is pretty funny. So.
I see the fire, I see the flames, setting the world ablaze. I feel the speed, I feel the rush, grinding your bones to the dust. Something comes alive. Hang on for the ride, yeah. Full speed, or no speed. Live one day at a time. Full speed, or no speed. Living life in a crowd.
One of the interesting things about Striker is that your band seems to be both serious and not very serious at the same time. I mean, many of your songs have almost cartoonish lyrics, but a much more serious approach to the music itself. So, is that a deliberate strategy to make things funny and serious at the same time?
I think that just reflects us as people, maybe. Like we're not super serious about stuff. I mean, I don't know. We got opinions about stuff, but it's not, we're not trying to make a big statement. We just really like the music, and we like to have fun and stuff. So
the first song on your first EP was called Road Warrior. Was that about Mad Max?
yeah, definitely was.
Big influence.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of songs actually we've written. Like, I don't know, I'm not a super great lyricist, so I like to write about stuff that I like. And we wrote a song about Road Warrior. We wrote a song about the movie Gladiator. Wrote a song about the movie Point Break. Yeah, like a lot of those things really influence sort of just that for some reason the 80s era in general is sort of like something we really like. Like, we were born in that time, but I don't know if that counts for anything.
Have you seen the new Mad Max movie?
I haven't yet.
I have. It's awesome, but it's one car chase.
Yeah.
Stole that idea. If you look back in our Let It Burn music video, we had flamethrower guitars. They stole that idea. No royalties at all. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I live today, but always think of tomorrow. The high road isn't always easy to follow. Every path has its ups and downs. Spending much time always hanging around. Oh, I gotta get away. Don't wanna lose these days. Oh, I gotta find a way. It's hard to go and it's so easy to stay. I'm making bad decisions.
Could you briefly tell the story behind the song Fuck Volcanoes?
Oh, shit. So, what year was that? We were supposed to play Keep It True Festival in Germany, and
2009 maybe?
2009-ish, I guess. It was going to be our first trip to Europe ever, and we were super excited. We were playing at Keep It True, and like it was really cool for us. And then that volcano went off in Iceland, and so all the flights, and it was like just that particular week was like everything's canceled, and we couldn't rebook or anything like that. So we were sitting at home with nothing to do because everybody took time off from work. We were going to go to Europe, and then we were just sort of stranded. So we just sort of were sitting in the basement and wrote a song at home, and we're just like, let's record it. Fuck it, who cares? That's where it came from.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
When I first heard your latest album, City of Gold, it blew my mind right away. It's heavy as hell, it's dynamic, and it has really memorable songs. How different was your approach when you created this album and the previous works? How different?
I guess mostly the producer we worked with was sort of the difference, I think, for just like how it sounded. It was Fredrik Nordstrom in Sweden, So we were on tour, and we figured, well, if we're going to be there anyways, let's find a producer over there that we can work with. And we was sort of a big fan of Dream Evil and stuff. So we looked him up, and we're like, wow, we could go record there in Sweden. So that's what we did. We took like a 21-hour bus ride to Sweden after we finished our tour. And so I think that had a big thing to do with how the actual album sounds. And then the songs, we just wrote them like we always write them, I guess. I don't know, they just happen to sound different, I guess.
I remember at the time, though, we had like a big emphasis on how it would come over at the live show. We really wanted like songs that would translate into a performance really well. So I think that was maybe a piece of it, but so.
Video clip for the song Start Again is really something for everyone to see. One of the coolest and funniest things I've seen in music video lately. Who came up with such a crazy idea, and was it difficult to make it?
Well, to be honest, I was brainstorming with the director for a long time, and it was kind of a lot of ideas that came in together into one music video. And but the director played a huge part, Lindsay Robinson. He's a good friend, and we're just finishing a video.
Wait till you see.
There's a new one coming, which is also ridiculous. But so yeah, a lot of that, and you know what? A lot of it happened just on the set. It was like, let's do this, and then you know, a cymbal is in a guy's neck, and it's gushing out blood, and no, it was tons of fun. It's so much work to do those videos, but it's always worth it. So,
but yeah, like, just wait till you see the next one.
It's for what song will that
it's
video
for the
be?
song Start Again.
No, Second Attack.
Oh yeah, that's the same. Yeah, they say the same song. Yeah, Second Attack. That one.
Okay.
So it's but yeah, we won like a contest in Canada where they give you like 10 grand to make a music video, and so we just, you know, do what we do and use $10,000 to make a music video. So it's gonna be pretty special.
I'm sure it will be interesting. Up till now, you have released a new album every second year. So does it mean that we should expect a new Striker album in 2016?
Yeah, we actually are just finishing recording a new album, and so we're not exactly sure when we're going to release it. It might be like right at the start of next year. So yes, the answer is yes.
How this album is going to sound like?
I don't know. I think it's sort of like, I would compare it to more like Armed to the Teeth album, but it's going to sound more like City of Gold. So it's sort of a mix between those two, if that makes sense. We like it. We're pretty happy with it. So, but I think every band is when they record a new album. So.
Okay, so we'll be waiting for the album, and today we'll be waiting for your show.
Right on.
Okay, thanks very much.
Cheers. Woo!